Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. It is October 24th, 2024, and this is episode, oh god, I should know this, but the website's down, so I won't know this. 898, oh god, there's only two left. There's only two left for 600. We've really got to figure out why the website keeps going down. It's really obnoxious. The reason there's no TSI this week, by the way, is that I fought the website for over a day just to post the fucking article.
Yeah. Been there.
I was like, no. It's like, I would like to post it, please. Now, nope. Cool.
It's not meeting any of my SLAs right now.
Shut the fuck up.
I thought you'd appreciate that, James.
I don't need that right now. It's my life. It's my misery. The voice I'm going to introduce him first because last week he got impatient and started yelling, is John Lindemann.
Hey, it's great to be here, James. I'm calm, cool, collected.
John, have you heard the new Xbox news today?
I have not.
Okay. There's a new accessory. There's a new accessory out for Xbox.
Is this? I just saw the thing about the wrap. I think I just got an email about the Call of Duty 6.
No,
wrap. There's apparently a wrap that you can put on your console now. Not like a wrap, like up, but like like a wrap.
It should be that. It should just be a song that plays every time.
It should be like with a Fat Boys beatbox kind of thing every time. But I have not seen the Xbox news, but I am sure it is so cool and understated, like all Xbox news is.
Oh yeah. This is from the website TrueAchievements.com.
Okay.
Who says, stepping away from the more straight-laced news hitting our front page today, Southern Comfort, the alcohol brand, has revealed a ridiculous SoConsole Series X accessory. The SoConsole, a clever play on the condensed SoCo name, is an unofficial Xbox Series X attachment that acts like an oversized Pez dispenser for 50 milliliter shooter bottles of Southern Comfort. According to the press release, the attachment has been, quote, engineered for those over the age of 21 who crave excitement and the latest in tech disruption. Once attached to the Series X, the, quote, innovative console shell elevates gameplay by allowing players to, quote, order a 50 milliliter shooter from the SoConsole when they are in the throes of heated battle and need it most. Once plugged in, the so-called console's sour up front plate lights up, and you're able to control the device via included remote. It holds 3 50 milliliter shooter bottles, which can be replaced by a removable top plate.
Yeah, nothing quote, says high performance like Southern Comfort.
SoCo wants every experience to be fun and social, and includes gaming. But listen, we're a whiskey brand and not a gaming brand, so we focus not on redefining existing tech gamers' love, but instead infusing the game experience with more excitement. Avid players are craving a more interactive and social experience with friends, whether they're celebrating a hard-fought victory or unwinding after an epic fail. And what could be better than a SoCo sour-up before a power-up? I fucking hate this. It is just a bit... The thing is, like, it has no actual connection to the Xbox. The Xbox just attaches to it for some reason. For no reason, really. But, John, if you want one, you can go to the Sazerac House website and buy one for $50, but there is a limited number. Microsoft has nothing to do with this, which is honestly the most restrained thing the Xbox brand has ever done. I assume it was because no one asked, because I feel very confident they'd have been like, yeah, we're down for this. Absolutely. There's a trailer. It's terrible. I
Look at that. That is just ridiculous.
Why? I don't understand. Why are we here? Who's like, you know what? My Xbox needs a big fucking Southern Comfort shell on it that says sour up. God damn it. I hate this. Oh boy. So yeah, are you gonna sour up your Xbox, John?
Why not? At this point,
10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So if you're listening to this, you've already missed your opportunity to sour up your Xbox. But
for $50.
$50, it's truly the remote works at a distance of up to 80 yards in optimal conditions. How fucking far do you need to be from your SoCo dispenser? You still have to walk up there to get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need a remote. You just walk up there and press the button.
It's just in case you want to shut the kids up, right? You can just click a button and just say, "Hey, get some SoCo, get out of my face. I got some gaming to do."
Oh God, he's yelling at the new Call of Duty again. Beep. There, drink that. You'll feel better.
Right.
What a fucking stupid. But I saw the story and thought of you.
Yeah, but also I'm looking at on the Microsoft site just because I got this email saying, hey, there's customize your Xbox Series X, and it's a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 wrap that goes around your console.
Great.
Dude, it's $54.99.
What?
Yes.
It's just a vinyl wrap, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. I'll be honest, it looks like
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't like it.
It's so loud. It's so loud. Why is it so loud? Like the Xbox's only saving grace is that it's super understated in its design.
Mm-hmm.
This is
I'm not against the console wrap concept, but yeah.
This one's ugly.
It's just ugly, yeah. It's pretty hideous.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just got prompted. Can we help you? I want to ask them why the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is so ugly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's AI. Damn it. That's not any fun.
No.
I'm worried if I ask, they'll connect me to an actual sales associate who's going to want to try to sell me one, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Also today, Mr. Guillaume Vayette.
Good evening.
This is a long introduction, but we got there.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your patience.
Always.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Cool. Guillaume also living the SoCo life, apparently. Last but not least, Mr. Greg Lay.
Ahoy, everyone.
We got through the intros eventually, but I felt like I needed John to reflect upon the choice he and I both made in going with the Xbox brand and why Southern Comfort decided that no, Xbox is the choice. I assume it's just because it's square, so it's easy to abut things to.
But, yeah. It's just such it's just so unfortunate, but also just so Xbox, you know.
It does feel like
it doesn't surprise me. And actually, what surprises me is that it's actually not endorsed by Microsoft themselves.
Like I said, the only reason it's not endorsed, I presume, is no one asked.
Yeah. Well, see, it doesn't really apply to me because all of my little SoCo bottles are all in my Xbox fridge. So I'm good, man. I'm good.
You're
you know
one
what I'm
step
saying?
ahead.
I'm real good.
As long as you chill them first. Because you can't put them in the fridge warm; they won't get cold.
Right. I really should use that fridge more than I do. It's
don't
worry. I'll talk amongst myself.
Okay.
On that one.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's wonderful. All right, new business. So we didn't do new business last week because we didn't really have a lot to do. This week, it's not looking a lot better. Why? Well, Ease 10 comes out today, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet, so I don't know what to talk about. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about bad. It's a Ease game where exploration is a key feature, which was the problem with 9. So that's going to potentially consume large portions of my life. But hey. Come back next week. Kiwami also came out. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 came out today, too. All these games came out today. Romancing Saga 2, which is not Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but does have romance in the title as well, also came out today. Why did all these games come out today? Who could say? But they did. But we're not going to talk about any of them because none of us have played them yet. John, I know you're looking forward to getting to Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8. So
I cannot wait. I have it penciled in on my calendar.
Perfect.
The second it drops, I'm there.
Well, I guess you're off the show because it dropped today.
Bye.
I hope you go show him who's boss.
I'm out of here. I'm gonna be a. I don't even know. I don't even know enough about that series to even talk any trash about it. So
you're gonna go be Lubu. That's what you're gonna go do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great, awesome. And then Egg Console released an adventure game where it's all about mysteries and uncovering them, where you have to like put evidence together, and it's all in Japanese because fuck it. Like, who cares? But we're not talking about any of those because none of us were crazy enough to buy the Japanese-only game that requires you have a tremendous knowledge of Japanese in order to play it. Because we're not sick like that. We're sick in different ways. But I'll go first. So I have bought a while ago the Mega Man Zero ZX collection. And I had been trying to push through the Mega Man Zero games. If you've never played the Mega Man Zero games, there's 4 GBA games. They basically came out annually. They had absolutely killer music that then Capcom went and made these amazing remix CDs up for. But they're fucking hard as hell. They're so hard. They're so mean. And that's probably the best way to describe it. They're mean games. They're not just difficult. Enemies do like huge amounts of damage when they hit you. Health is very rare to find. It's not so much like the old Mega Man X games or the Mega Man games that preceded those, where you could go grind to level Mega Man up or X up by finding upgrade stuff. Like you can upgrade Zero a bit. He has RPG-like mechanics for his weapons, which he has multiple. But functionally, Zero is Zero, whether he is laughing or crying. And so enemies are just going to fucking shithouse you in those games. They are so difficult. I had forgotten this. So I had played some of these games back in the GBA era. And then on the DS, they released Mega Man Zero Collection. And that had a mode that was like, I don't remember what they called it. But essentially it just made the game not fucked. Like that was the mode. And I beat it. I beat all those games in that mode and had a grand old time. I presumed, we'll get to this. I presumed that the mode would exist in the Zero ZX collection. It does, but it's changed a little bit, and I'll get to that. It also includes the 2 Mega Man ZX games, ZX and ZX Advent. I believe we did a retroactive on one of those. Is that accurate?
It does not ring a bell.
I played Advent and talked about it on the show. So
okay.
I can remember that much. I'm not sure if it goes beyond that. And there was another thing I remembered where I feel like maybe Johnny reviewed one of those games for the site, so it might have come up in that context as well.
Because I just had this thought in my head of like, did we do a retroactive? And I don't remember it because I have not. I'm fairly confident I had not played Mega Man ZX, but I guess I'd been exposed to it enough that I was like, this does seem familiar. Maybe I did play it. And the only way I could think I'd played it would be a retroactive, but I didn't see it on my shelf, so I was like, maybe not. I started ZX this week. And so Mega Man 2 or 3, I can't remember which one, introduced what is effectively an open world, where it's like, rather than just go warp to the enemy, it's like, all right, you can go walk there. Have fun. They do have warps, but they're like, well, that enemy's like 9 screens away. Get hiking. ZX takes that to an extreme. ZX has a huge world, and it's all connected, but the map is the worst map in the history of video games. And let me try to explain that, because it's really hard to explain. You take a mission, as the whole premise of the ZX games is it's set way after the Mega Man Zero games, which themselves are set way after the Mega Man X game. I want to say Zero is set 100 years after X. X is set 100 years after the main series. And ZX is set multiple 100 years after the Zero series, because they talk about the events of those games as hundreds of years ago. So at least 2. Long ass time. And humans have rebounded, which after the events of like Mega Man X6 is impressive, because there's a colony drop in that game. and Mega Man Zero, where like they've basically all been huddled into like an underground colony, but they're also kind of prisoners. And the Reploids that are around, or whatever they call themselves at this point, seem to have fallen backwards in technology, but shards of the main characters from the Mega Man Zero game persist and still have their personalities in them. And certain humans are able to, like, Henshin Agogo when they have one of them and turn into a hybrid person robot and gain the powers of that character. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird as a premise, but whatever. But the thing is, the map, so you'll get a mission that'll be like, go investigate the distress signal in Area H. So you pause the game, you hit the L button to look at your map, and Area H is not on your map. You've got Area A, you got Area X, which isn't connected to anything. You've got Area B, which is where the city is. Or C is where the city is. And you can see the path from A where you started to C, but nothing else is filled in on the map. Go find Area H. Good luck. And so you just wander from screen to screen, like trying to figure out where Area H is. You might think, well, it should be near Area G, correct? No! It is, in fact, nowhere near Area G. That is a foolish thought that a fool would have. So most of the game is just wandering around. And even if you know where it is, let's say you've found Area H before and it's on your map. It will have a little like square that says H1, and there'll be a line coming off like diagonal to the left, down, so left down and right down, or left up and right up. And it'll be going to like, one will go to H2, and then one will go to like D1, because you go from D to H, because sure, why not? Those lines don't mean anything. They just mean there's a connection. It doesn't mean that the left side of the screen will take you to D. In fact, it could be the opposite. Who can say? It might be a door in the middle of the level that takes you to H. There's no indicator. There's no help here. So even if you found the place before, unless there's a warp that goes to that zone, which most zones don't have a warp, good luck. Like, if you found it before, you can probably figure it out. If you haven't, you're just going to wander around for, in my case, once 35 minutes of going to screens, walking all the way to where the boss of what that stage would be. Because this is like, imagine if Zero had to walk to his Mega Man levels, or to his levels, and then he had to like walk to the end of them, fight the boss, and then walk back. That's what these games want you to do. I, in multiple occasions, reached where the boss was and then had to navigate the level in reverse, which it's not meant to do, because there's usually a warp at the end of the level. Because I was wandering around this area hoping it connected to Area H, but instead I found the door to a boss room, but that boss wasn't the active mission, so the door wouldn't open. And I can't change missions out in the field, so I had to leave, go find another area, and eventually I just went online. I'm like, show me the map to Mega Man ZX. And there's like 20 articles that come up what the map to Mega Man ZX should have looked like. And it's organized cleanly. You could tell where things are. And I just like, fuck hunting around for this. This is a terrible idea. Why would you put this in your game? Like, if it had a little indicator on the screen, like if you pull up the map and there's like a dot in this unmapped area to tell you where it is, that would be something. That's what like Zelda does. But there's nothing. There's nothing. You have no idea where anything is. It's truly a bizarre thing. Now, I mentioned that the Mega Man ZX games are the Mega Man Zero games are hard as shit. And the DS game made it like an easy mode that just made it less mean. The Switch game, or the Switch port, or collection, does have that, but it makes it even easier to the point where it's not fun. To the point where it's just like, oh, I slashed it and they blow up. Like, there's no challenge in it. It's depressing to play. It's actually depressing to play it that way. Now, the one thing they do that I actually really like and have left on the toggle switch is quick saving. So, one of the things with the Mega Man Zero games that makes them so evil is they're super hard. And there's like basic enemies will take like a quarter of Zero's life. Because fuck it. Why not? There's spike pits everywhere. The platforming is incredibly difficult. And if you've never played on a Game Boy Advance, which I understand there's probably members of our audience who have never held a GBA, it's only got 2 buttons. Well, 2 face buttons. It's got 2 shoulder buttons. Zero has multiple weapons that he can map at the same time, which means the dash, I want to say the default for dash was double tap, because you need to jump. So he's got 2 active weapons, a jump, and a dash. Figure it out with the controls available to you. And so a lot of the platforming is really hard because it relies on dash jumping. So those games are just super hard. So what they added in this version is a checkpoint thing that just sits in the stage. And there's every so often you'll run into them. Because this game didn't have checkpoints. If you die, you die. Go back to the start. Which made this game so goddamn hard. I want to say the boss had a checkpoint. But that was it. Otherwise, not our problem. So, yeah, it was miserable to get to the boss, and then you'd run out of lives, and you'd have to do it all over again. And also, I want to say some of the bosses, if you lost and didn't beat them, bad story shit happened, because fuck you. So, these little checkpoints that are all over the stage really take some of the piss out of the game in a good way, but also it checkpoints everything. So if you find an item right after that checkpoint through some hard platforming, you got to do it again, which is annoying, but not the end of the world. But it also preserves your lives, so you just have enough, like your lives never drain, essentially. So that's actually a nice thing to have. So I got through most of 01, most of 02 using that thing, and then started 03, and that one gets deeper into the exploration stuff, and that was really annoying. Then I moved to ZX. And boy, the exploration stuff is turned up to 11. It does have the checkpointing that the Zero games have, but it's also hard as shit. And I had forgotten, or I guess I had never played it. I had forgotten that those games were still hard. I thought the review said, they toned it down. Maybe they did. Those bosses are still miserable. Like, you got hit 3 times, you're dead. That's it. Boss killed you. Have fun. They might take 10, 12, 13 hits, and Zero has power-ups that he steals from the bosses, and it marginally does more damage than his saber, but doesn't stun them or anything like it does in the X games. I don't recommend this. This game is just mean. It's mean top to bottom. And the exploration is not fun. It does seem like they made the map a lot better in ZX Advent. I see people talking online of if they just had put basically people asking why they didn't put the ZX Advent map in this collection, because they're like, it's so much better than the ZX map. But they didn't. Map sucks. Fuck terrible. I've cleared 5 bosses at this point. I'm at 4 hours. I would say 70% of that is me wandering around before I just said fuck it and looked up a map. Yeah, if you're gonna play these games, just look up a map. Just look up a map. It's not worth it. There's no joy to the exploration. It's not like I wonder what's behind this door. Oh, it's a locked door. The game let me walk 11 screens of Spike Hell for a locked door. Why? Why not just not let me go down this path? Why not just tell me I can't go here yet? Why let me do this? Now I have to navigate a level that was meant to be navigated in one direction in the opposite direction, and it's super fucking harder because all the jumps are now higher altitude. You're going from low to high rather than high to low, which you were doing before. Just miserable. Just miserable. So yeah, don't, I think is my answer to this. Just don't. Just don't. They look nice. They look really nice, actually. They've got good music. The Zero games in particular have amazing music. But I got it on sale. I knew what I was getting into, and I'm still kind of bummed about it. I'm going to keep poking at the ZX, but now that other stuff's out that I want to play, maybe not for a while. But yeah, just don't. These games are so out of balance. Now, Advent is supposed to be a lot better. So I'm curious, but yeah, because it could be like a 20-minute hike to a boss when you know where it is. God forbid you don't. I appreciate that Capcom was experimenting with shit. This ain't it. There is a little bit of there's a little bit of Metroidvania in here, because as you get certain bosses' powers, you get access to other areas. But most of the way it does that is it just straight up gives you keys. Here's a blue key. Where's the blue doors? I don't know. You figure it out. Thanks, Capcom. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the Mega Man Zero collection. Again, it's unless you just want to have all the Mega Man collections on your Switch, which you can do. You can do that now. Because I want to say did they make one for the... They did make a network transmission collection, didn't they?
Battle Network, yeah. I think it's in like 2 parts, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because there were a lot of those.
Because those were also coming out annually at the same time as the Zero games. It's nuts. Capcom was putting out 2 Mega Man games in alternating series every year. It was crazy. The GBA got so many Mega Man games. Boy, those are hard. Those are really hard. I think the only Mega Man games or the only mainline-ish Mega Man games that aren't available are the Game Boy ones at this point. Like the Wonder Swan Mega Man Network Transmission game's not on there. But like, is anybody looking for that? Probably not.
Yeah, obviously the original Game Boy one showed up on NSO, but you've still got the GBC kind of Mega Man Extreme.
Mega Man Extreme 1 and 2.
Maybe they could come to NSO at some point, but yeah,
they're pretty fun. I played those a lot as a kid. They've got some. They're essentially remixes of Mega Man. I want to say it's X1 and X2 is Extreme 1, and X1, 2, and 3 is Extreme 2. And it's interesting to hear how they remade a lot of music for the Super Nintendo on the Game Boy Color sound chip. Is it always good? No, but there's actually some stuff in there that kind of slaps. The title theme for Extreme 2, title card theme, is actually pretty fucking cool. I might ask that to be an end theme at some point. It's electric guitars on your Game Boy Color. But yeah, that it's like we're pretty much through the end at this point. Like if you want Mega Man, boy, there's a lot of Mega Man available to you on Switch. I recommend this not be part of what you consume. Oh, we're missing the Legends games. That kind of makes me sad. I guess you could see Mega Man 64, which is just Legends, come to NSO. That might not be a bad call. But Legends 2...
if that didn't come out in, the Wii U, or I feel like...
No, I know. But, like, it could, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the Switch is definitely more popular than the Wii U. But, I mean, like, even Demon's Crest came out on the Wii U Virtual Console. So,
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't bode well.
I would assume it would be more work to make that run well than Demon's Crest. But what do I know? But it would be nice, because I enjoy that game a lot. It's weird. It's very weird. But of course, 2 never came to N64. So if they wanted to, like, that would be a really cool collection if they did Legends 1, 2, and Tron Bonne. Like, that would actually be a nice collection, and I'd spring for that. But it seems like those are the forgotten children. So
Battle Transmissions, or what was the GameCube one called?
Mega Man. Yeah.
Battle Transmissions, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, they got to put it somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to be like the lone Mega Man game that's just nowhere.
That's true. A command mission. Mega Man X command mission. That was it.
No, that's the RPG.
Oh, there's another one?
I'm thinking... What am I thinking of? Mega Man Game Cube. Like the one that was basically like... there was like a random element to the... What the hell? Google has forgotten about this game. I'm not making it up. Network transmission. Network transmission. Man. Is that what I said earlier? Or maybe I said battle transmission, but yeah.
Yes.
It had like this weird thing where it was kind of like based on the universe of the GBA games, except that it was a 2D side-scrolling Mega Man game, which was kind of a throwback back then, because the GameCube Nintendo hadn't gotten one of those in a long time, and it had like this random element to it. Like Yep.
I've never played it. I know it wasn't well liked.
No. So that's why I want it on a collection, so that I'm basically like, well, like I'm gonna own these other good games, hopefully. Well, I'll check out the Unwanted Child.
I love that the X2 collection has one game that's okay on it. It's got Mega Man X5, which is okay. It's got X6, which is fucking terrible. It's got X7, which is somehow worse. That's the 3D one. And then it's got X8 with like, oh God, what did we do with X7? But they had to use X7's engine because they had moved to the PS2. Oh my God. Oh, the X2 collection's almost worth having because of how much just terrible stuff is on it. Just to see, just to experience. Don't pay full price, but it does go on sale a lot. And that's how I got it. And there is some stuff in X Collection 2 that is just unfucking believable. Mega Man X7 and Mega Man X6 are unfucking believable. X6 was made in 9 months because they told him you're done with Mega Man X after 5. Start working on the PS2, and then they said, "Psych, put another PSX game out." So they did it in 9 months, and it, boy, does it show! It shows so hard. There's a level where you just fight these donuts. They just look like donuts, and you just fight them for screen after screen. It's terrible. But yeah, it's great. It's great. You should definitely buy that collection and play every game front to back in it. You'll have a great time, I promise. All right. Now that I've maybe tricked someone into buying Mega Man X Collection 2, and they're now trying to get through Mega Man X6, don't. It's really hard. And not in a good way. Guillaume, what is your new business?
Yeah, so I've been, for Canadian Thanksgiving, I went to the in-laws, as I often do. They are over in Ontario. And I went to sunny Peterborough, which, a town I love, which always makes people from Ontario chuckle when I say that, because they're like, really? Really? But yeah, I do, because I always go there because, in the fall, and the colors are nice, and I get to go to Chumley's, this institution in Peterborough and also Kingston. Do you have
to be a wizard to go there?
You don't.
Sounds like it. Okay.
No, it's a used game shop, and that's something that I don't see a whole lot in... Basically in all of Quebec. Like, I would have thought that Montreal would have a lot of them, but turns out that they basically don't exist. And I don't know if it's like maybe a municipal law or a province-wide law. Like, maybe there's something that makes running a used game store particularly not worth it in Quebec. I have no idea.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like you'll find...
It's conspicuous in their absence.
Yeah, like you'll probably find games that shit, I almost had the word in my head a second ago. Pawn shops. But that's about it. So pawn shops are a thing, they exist. I'm guessing that there are some laws around pawn shops that would also apply to used game stores. And so used game stores are not worth it, but pawn shops still probably profitable. Anyway, so that's my theory. But the thing is, like, I don't have this place that I can go and sell my old games for a decent amount and then just leave with a whole bunch of GameCube games or PlayStation 2 games or whatever it is, And so Chumley's is like the store of my dreams. I go there, I spend way too much time going over the admittedly pretty small GameCube section, and then, the much larger PlayStation 2 version, and then the Xbox version, because turns out the Xbox is backwards compatible. So I got some good stuff this in this past trip. But so they helpfully label the Xbox games that they got, the 360 games that they got, with like backwards compatible stickers, so that that they're going to be compatible if you buy them. So that's good. But I still find myself sometimes having to do a quick research on my phone, because I was long ago, without really looking at it, clearly I wasn't paying attention, I bought Ultra Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition on the Xbox thinking like, well, it's $5, it's on sale, it's $5, and the Super Street Fighter, whatever it's called, Arcade Edition, which is not Ultra, is more expensive than that. So why would I pay more for the previous version when I can just pay $5 and get Ultra? And then turns out that this Ultra was actually downloadable content. You need the full game for it. So and the game that it's compatible with, never on fucking sale on Xbox. It just doesn't happen. I think that Capcom knew what they were doing. They were like, yeah, this is part of our big Capcom sale. $5 for Street Fighter Ultra. You're always going to find a game that it's for to be $30. So I've been waiting still for a sale. And then I found Street Fighter 4 at Chumley's. But there were two versions, Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 4
Ultra
Arcade, I guess.
There's a bunch.
Right. Yeah, there's at least two.
Right, so the Arcade Edition, I believe. And so I quickly check. Looks like Ultra might be compatible with both, and they have both here. I'm going to go with the cheaper version, because I'm not an idiot. I'm going to go with the regular-ass Street Fighter 4, and then I'm going to be able to play my Street Fighter Ultra game. Spoiler alert, I'm an idiot. I'm a dumbass. I must have mischecked on my phone, or maybe AI just gave me bad info. Who knows at this point? I'm gonna blame Bing, ChatGPT, sure. It's only compatible with the Arcade Edition, so I'm still unable to play the DLC that I bought for a game that I still don't own. But I did buy Street Fighter 4, and it's a great game. So I guess that's what I wanted to say. That's my story today. Street Fighter 4, pretty good.
What do you like about it? What makes it so great in your eyes?
It's just great presentation, like in a kind of a jolt of nostalgia, because they're all, all the characters from Street Fighter 2 are there, basically. But also, it's easy to pick up and play, especially if you already know how to pull off the moves. Like it's a little bit dated, like clearly the animations are Xbox 360 level, and in your head you might think like, well, it's HD, it's like it's kind of like the beginning of the modern era of gaming, but like there have been strides made since the 360, believe it or not. But I don't know, like great music presentation, like it's really in your face, like it really feels like, the arcade experience. The one thing that I was surprised by, though, is that you get a training mode that's basically like a slightly tweakable practice mode that, like basically you can have the player 2 not do anything or do something sometimes, so that you can practice moves and counters and stuff like that. But it's very bare bones. So the practice mode, I was kind of expecting maybe like something like, here's a kind of a detailed like tutorial for like each and every character, or at the very least, like here's how you grab someone, here's how you prevent someone else from grabbing you, things like that. But no, like this game has no tutorialization whatsoever, or very little. Like you can look into, and you can go in the menu and check out the various moves for your character, but that's about it. And I guess I thought that they would have been on that earlier, back in the day, but I guess like that was still not really a thing that fighting games did, have these like really in-depth tutorials. But I'm still enjoying it. Like I eventually I figured out a thing or two. I'm playing on very easy. There's still like easiest under that, so I'm not like at the very lowest difficulty setting. But very easy is good enough for me so far. And I guess I'm a bit of a button masher. I do pull off the moves. I basically, like, the way that I play fighting games is like I'm just going to keep spamming super move after super move, just, as long as I can pull it off, and like hopefully at some point my hits will connect often enough that I'll beat the opponent. And I think that in the past I didn't consider that button mashing, but I now realize, like, there's no strategy to that. I'm not being like, I'm always reacting basically, and I'm always like, like, okay, I'm far away, I'm gonna throw a fireball. I'm close, I'm gonna throw a shoryuken or whatever. But there's not really any kind of strategy there, and then it served me well on very easy until I tried to play as a Dalsim, and for some reason, I'm not a Dalsim player. I don't know how to make him work, and the final boss of Street Fighter 4, Seth, has basically like stretchy arms as well. Like, he's got one of Dalsim's moves, except that his reach is longer and he's faster. And so I was, for the longest time, I must have tried like 20, 30 times to beat him. Could never figure it out. Eventually, like, I looked up, some help online, and I stumbled on like a Steam forum post that was like, like you stay away from him, and then eventually, like, he'll teleport, or like he'll do this or he'll do that. And I don't know, I guess like something clicked for me when I read that. It was not Dalsim specific advice, but it kind of reminded me, like, oh yeah, maybe I don't need to be constantly attacking, and like clearly I'm doing something that's not working. I keep thinking it's gonna work at some point, and it never does. So like basically I changed my strategy. I got way more what's the word? Not cheap, but like basically like I'm just spamming maybe like kicks and stuff like that, like really boring moves that are ultimately, very helpful, very, very effective when you're just trying to trip the enemy and stuff like that. And you're, like, he hits harder, he hits faster than you. He can, deplete your health bar very, very quickly. So you kind of gotta play defensively. You can't really turtle, like, you can't just like block, because he's got this move that's it's an unblockable grab, and it deals a lot of damage. So, I managed to adjust my strategy against him, and finally I beat him with Dalsim. So that was good. So I'm just going through the game with like every character. I'm having, a lot of fun. Some aspects of the game didn't really age well. Like, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I'm thinking, like, would they make Street Fighter 4 today? Like, the way that they did, I'm not so sure. Like, there was like this completely gratuitous. I was playing as Blanca, and like he's facing E Honda, and then like his victory cry is like, nature doesn't like fatzos, survival of the fittest. And I'm like, what the fuck? that seems like it came out of nowhere. And so it is of its era, I suppose. And like, I don't know, like, it's been fun to go back to it, because I guess I don't know why I skipped it back in the day. I did have a PlayStation 3. I could have played it. I guess maybe there must have been a demo. I must have checked it out, and I must have decided, like, well, this is not for me. Like, I'm not into fighting games anymore. But right now I am. So
I mean, were you into fighting games at that time though?
Yeah, no, it had been a while. I had dropped off, and like, I don't know, other things on the PlayStation 3 seem, or the Wii, I guess, seem more exciting than fighting games. So
yeah, you're probably arguing with somebody in like the IGN forums or something.
Oh, no doubt. But so
of course.
It was fun. Yeah, of course I bought Street Fighter 3D or whatever it's called on the 3DS when the eShop closed, but I didn't play it there. It's not a very good experience, like the small controller, basically the small size of the unit. So I'm just, I guess I could have played it on 3DS and I didn't, but I'm enjoying it on 360. And I guess very quickly, I also picked up Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, because I just wanted something to play with Karen, so I picked that up on GameCube. It is so much...
second Lord of the Rings GameCube game, I know.
Yes. But the first one, The Two Towers, they skipped the first movie because I guess they didn't have time to produce a game for it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the second one, The Two Towers, is single player.
Yes.
So that's part of why we are not playing it. The other part of why is that I actually bought it years ago. The disc didn't work on my Wii. So I returned it on this last trip. I exchanged it. Like, they had another copy. So I was like, well, can I exchange it? And the guy's like, well, you bought this 2 years ago. We don't do that. And I was like, come on. Like, just give me like $5 off on this other copy. He was like, okay. So I picked up this different disc, and then I came back here, and it's still not running on the freaking Wii. So nice. I don't know what the deal is, if it's a known issue with the Two Towers on the Wii, but
it might be like one of those dual layer disc things too.
Yeah,
where
or
some games are,
or
yeah. I recall enjoying these games.
They're very, very rough looking. So much more rough looking than they were in my my memories. But also they're very hard, and so like we're just in the third level, and we're just struggling. There are separate save files for solo and co-op campaigns, and the co-op campaign is more not streamlined. Yeah, streamlined. I mean, like, there's only one path that you can take. Like, in the solo quest, like, there are times when you can just, like, choose between, like, 2 or 3 different levels that you can tackle. But the co-op campaign is much more linear. And I think that maybe as you play, like, you gain experience, you can upgrade your characters. And I think that maybe the when you're playing solo and co-op, like the XP is shared, basically. So if I played more of the single player campaign, maybe I could just grind, basically, and level up these characters, because it is so freaking hard. Like, we don't have the tools right now. Like, we have one combo that we can do. We've almost got nothing. So, like, we just keep getting crushed, and it's been very unfun. And, yeah, just the third level, super long, multiple stages to it. And when you die towards the end, as far as I know, I don't know, like, you start at the very beginning. So, like, we just earlier just put away our controllers in disgust. Like, we were like, okay, we're going to tackle this some other time, because it was pretty frustrating. But other than that, like, it's just kind of funny, like, seeing they tried to do the animation of Aragorn just swinging his sword around, and like based it on the movies. But in the movies, like, he's always like wildly swinging, and so like when you see his in-game model just like swinging wildly on the upgrade screen, like, without context, it just looks so freaking stupid. I posted a video.
It just looks like he would like hurt everybody around him.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you wouldn't stand around this guy. Like,
it's like
you wouldn't want him to protect you.
Yeah, exactly. You need to protect yourself from him. Stay 20 feet away from him at all times.
Absolutely. So, yeah, so it's pretty funny. And also, like, they were doing this thing where they were trying to kind of seamlessly transition between FMV scenes from the movies and the gameplay. And it's just kind of ghastly. You know, like, you see, you know, the faces of, beautiful actors, and then they turn into these polygonal, weird versions of themselves. And it's like, ugh, what the hell is happening? And also there's the fact that the game, The Return of the King, came out, I think, maybe like a week before the movie was released. So the scenes that they have in there, are not like finished VFX, right? So,
right.
Some of it might be that, okay, like, I'm not used to seeing a standard definition video game on my TV screen, but like a lot of it is also like, oh, these are not finished. Like this scene doesn't look this bad in the actual movie. So it's, I don't know.
It could funny. Also be condensed because of the GameCube disc size too.
Also, yeah.
I want to say there's some stuff that's different about the GameCube version because of disc size.
Oh, that's possible. But I'm not saying a ton of compression, so that's something. But the game is not a looker anyway, so it's not like, I don't know, faint praise, I guess. Like it's not as bad as it could be.
There you go. It could be. Yeah. This could be so much worse.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll see. Like I'll probably talk about it more if we keep playing it. Cool. And there's like a sale right now on a few Double Dragon games. So
I was about to tell you about
Double Dragon sickos. This is your moment to pick up Double Dragon Advance and Super Double Dragon. I did. I'm a Double Dragon sicko, I guess. We played through Double Dragon Advance and okay, I know I just said like you can go pick up Double Dragon Advance. Maybe don't go pick up Double Dragon Advance. Should I keep going? Like, is it how long is my new business? Like, do I want to save that for some other time or?
Why don't we save it for another time?
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine port of a GBA game on your Switch, and if you play it on your TV, you will get what you get.
It is not a cromulent experience, is what you were telling me.
No.
All right, fair enough. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, speaking of cromulent experiences, Greg, what have you been up to?
Perfectly cromulent things, I guess. I mean, you've coloured that for the audience already. I would leave it up to them.
Well, no, I would say the experience they're about to have in this segment is what is cromulent.
It's still up for them to decide, James. I wouldn't presume.
Our audience doesn't get to decide shit. They have one responsibility: listen and send emails.
Yeah, so I might have been talking a little bit more about F-Zero Climax that went up on the expansion pack a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was. But what kind of happened with that was that, there was the kind of anniversary stuff going on with F-Zero 99 and the Ace, whatever it's looking like, League, the new cup that was like drawn from the Satellaview stuff I talked about and all that. So the problem with that is that when you play F-Zero 99 and then you play one of the GBA games, you have the issue of the button, like, kind of assignment being, like, boost and accelerate being switched. So I have played some F-Zero Climax. What's famous about it is that it's, by which I mean what I can remember about reading about it from, 20 years ago or whatever, is that it's really difficult. Like, even by F-Zero standards, it's very difficult. So I played it a little bit, like, on the middle difficulty and kind of went through the cups on that, but then, like, tried, like, one cup on the more advanced difficulty, the most advanced, or at least the one, presumably, like, there's probably, like, another one that you unlock once you do the third difficulty, but you kind of just it's like, I'm gonna have to spend some time, like proper time with this to get the handling down, get the techniques down or whatever, and trying to do that while also playing a bunch of F-Zero 99 where the buttons are reversed is just like, nah, this is fucking Metroid Prime and Time Splitters 2 Christmas all over again. I'm not doing it. So now that I've mostly cleaned up on the kind of all the stuff that they'd kind of put in F-Zero 99 with that last update, I've kind of completed the Ace League with all the different cars, so you get like the skins from the Satellaview game and all that for each kind of car and stuff. Like, I think I'd be prepared to actually take on Climax more in full quite shortly and actually be able to talk about it a bit more. But for the time being, what that leaves me with is I've talked about the demo quite a while ago now, I think it was, and Guillaume talked about it a little bit as well, playing in co-op, the Shadow of the Ninja Reborn Tengo project kind of remake of Shadow the Ninja to some extent, but it's also like, I mean, especially the visual overhaul is so drastic. You know, to call it a remake is kind of underselling. You know, how much nicer it looks and stuff. And in terms of like the nuts and bolts differences or like embellishments of that game, you know, the NES game, I couldn't tell you because I don't really have any experience with it. But, you know, I played the demo, thought, yeah, I like this. I think, you know, it might be worth getting. And so, yeah, I've played it. I've kind of beaten it on the normal difficulty and I'm close on hard now. I'm in the middle of the last level. But there's a few things I guess worth mentioning in terms of like that kind of went forward from the demo. Like I think when I was playing the demo, I was playing at least tried it with the kind of lady ninja character, right? And I don't think I necessarily immediately appreciated what was going on with like the jumping and stuff. Like in terms of like her jump is not as good as the other character, but I think she's faster. Like that's somewhat of the trade-off, which. For a lot of the game, I don't know how much use it is that she's faster, but there is a time attack mode. So presumably in that, it really comes into play. And then right at the end of the game, there's some parts where it's like, okay, you've got a narrow window to get through this particular sort of part of the level before like some hazards come along. So being faster would be useful. But in the main part, the male ninja character, Kage or whatever, like he's got better jumps. And so I think you could play the demo and sort of just like jump around okay enough with that if you're playing with the male character. But if you're playing with the female character, it's like there's going to be jumps where it's like, I can't quite make this. And that's kind of what I did. And then I kind of discovered, like, oh, if you press down and sort of hit the jump button in the air, it does like a little spinny thing and you can extend the distance of your jump, which is a strange choice down for something that extends your jump. But, you know, there's a few control choices in this which are like a bit odd, I would say. Yes. But what I didn't appreciate about that, like, so I just kind of find that out, like, by experimenting, just like, there must be a way to extend your jump, like, because these jumps are just too hard to make with this, at least with this character. But what I didn't appreciate is that actually, if you keep hammering it, it keeps extending it. Like, I thought it was like a one sort of off thing, like, you know, you just got a little bit of extra air, but no, like, you can keep doing that for quite a while and all that, so. Yeah, it took me a little while to get to grips with some of these sort of idiosyncrasies of the controls. I mean, other things would be like the whole thing of like you have these sub-weapons that you can collect. There's lots of them to collect. I'm sure we brought this up in the demo, the whole notion of like if you beat a level with one, you kind of like unlock it for future play where you can like buy it with accumulated currency. And things like that. So it's kind of encouraged in a weird way. It's an encouragement to not use something that you find, which is a little bit perverse. But also a lot of the time you will want to use stuff because, you know, it comes in handy. I guess it reminds me a tiny bit of Panzer Paladin that had a lot of like, you know, a little bit of like a Breath of the Wild thing going on with like, oh, there's tons of different weapons and you're kind of using them and burning through them and stuff. But, you know, with this, it's strictly a sub-weapon thing. And not only that, but you have two basic weapons, which is your sword and then that kind of the chain attack that you kind of fling out, which, again, like early on with the chain attack, I was just like, well, this has better range and is more flexible than the sword attack. So, like, what is even, like, really the point of the sword attack so much when that's so much better, seemingly? But to be fair, as it goes on, the sword has the defensive property of like being able, if you can kind of hack away with that, it can eat certain projectiles, essentially defend you from them, whereas the chain attack won't do that. So, you know, as you get along, some of these sort of slightly quirky decisions come into focus a bit. And like I said, with all those sub-weapons, I feel like there may have been certainly a way to do it that would have just, you know, fit in better with like my expectations based on, you know, all the classic kind of side-scrolling action games that I have played. Because it's this whole thing of like, okay, it seems to want to force you to like have to take a moment to organize your sub-weapons if you're going to do it. It's like you got all this stuff It could be stuff that increases your attack power. It could be things that restore your health, or indeed, these various sub-weapons which range from swords and clubs to like rocket launchers and chain guns. And I mean, there's just all sorts of weird things in there.
When I think ninja, I think chainsaw, stealthy, quiet.
You get that is part of the kind of the amusement value of these things, and just, I guess, encouraging you to poke around, because some of these things are really quite well hidden. Like in play, you could be standing in a weird part of the background where basically your character ceases to be visible, and you're like, why does it even let me stand here? And then if you just like hack with your sword, it's like, there was a hidden box, and now I've got a new sub-weapon. Like, there's things like that going on, which not terribly consequential, but it's just kind of cute that, when you can have that relationship of like thinking, well, there's this, corner of a level here that, I've made some effort to kind of access. Surely there's some sort of point to it, and then there is. So that's kind of nice, even if it's not a huge payoff kind of in itself. But I said, using them, you kind of have to stop and like hold the one shoulder button and then toggle like which one is like next in line with the D-pad, which is, I feel like it's somewhat deliberately cumbersome, in the sense that, it's like, okay, we're going to give you like all these options if you can find them and accumulate them. But, you're going to have to sort of buy yourself time to be able to pull them out. So I guess some of it's a deliberate choice, but it does, I'm sure a lot of players are going to feel like, wouldn't it just be better if I could just, hammer through the various ones just with the shoulder button, or both shoulder buttons maybe, that kind of thing. And then it would just be a lot easier to kind of pull them up. And the other thing, to use them, I mean, I think the way they do it is you kind of toggle. So it's like you press the shoulder button, and then it's like, well, you either use your sword or you use the secondary thing. But again, like classic Castlevania with the up and attack thing, it kind of, for me, that's a perfectly good solution here that obviously they had in 1986. So I again, this is my bias, because I've been playing Castlevanias since I was a very, very small child. So there's this sort of instinct of like, yes, that would make sense. That would be good. But, maybe, to other people, not so much, but it just seems like, that, because while the chain attack has directional kind of variability, like you can go straight up, it could be diagonal, it can be across. The sword doesn't. The sword just attacks the same whatever. So having a modifier on that for up and attack to be used in your sub-weapon seems perfectly, kind of without any trade-off. You could just implement that, and it would be a bit more instinctive than this like toggle business. But again, how much of that is on purpose, I guess. I feel like there's at least some. But, I will say, for whatever kind of somewhat, at least, counter to my intuition kind of choices they made with the controls, you spend enough time with it and you kind of, you get there, you know what I mean? And it starts to kind of, it all hangs together relatively well with the level design and, the way the enemies are, kind of pitched in terms of their attack patterns and how much health they take to kill. Like, it all starts to feel like it, kind of fits together very nicely. And I guess going through the first time on normal, the big thing was like at times I would kind of maybe get on a little bit of a roll, accumulate some of these things with the sub weapons, and they can, maybe sometimes you get to a boss with a bunch of stuff and just like fire that off and, take a relatively big chunk of like its health off early, and then you've kind of got a head start, and then you can kill it and whatnot. As the back end of the game kicks in and it gets harder, like you get less of that. And those, I did, because I just wasn't good enough to like clear multiple sections of the levels in one go anymore. Like the checkpoints are reasonably kind of generous, you know what I mean? You don't tend to go too long without being able to kind of have a checkpoint, and you can come back and restart your playthrough from a specific checkpoint, like not just the start of the level. Although, as was mentioned, I think in Zach's review, it's a bit, it's imprecise, like, about that, because, like, basically, I think in order to save essentially your spot in a particular playthrough, when you kind of hit a game over, you have to put exit, right? Otherwise, I think if you just like went, oh well, I'm assuming this auto saves, like, you know, just about everything does today, even if it is a classic style game. I'm just gonna, you know, close the software on the Switch and put it to sleep or something. Apparently it would not save that. So really, I think some of this could have been made clearer simply by the addition of one word, which is when it says game over, instead of exit, have it be called save and exit. So people would look at that and think, oh, okay, well, I have to do this to save it, do I? And that would have avoided a lot of the problem that Zach was talking about, but there it is. But forewarned, as I was by Zach's review, this was, you know, the thing that compromised my experience. But as it gets into that second half, like, yeah, it's getting tougher. I'm not complete. It's pretty much just like, okay, I beat like one section of a level, or I beat the boss at the end of a level, and, you know, I'm not going to get any further after that, you know, before I hit a game over again and have to, you know, start fresh. So those accumulated sub-weapons or accumulated health recoveries, they kind of faded from the game in the second half for me. I mean, there's definitely some, as you might expect when you think of something like Castlevania, where, you know, sometimes it's very deliberately going to give you the axe in a particular section because the design, the layout of the level, what enemies are present, kind of, it makes sense for that. And they will give you the odd sub-weapon that's like, oh yeah, this is, you know, something I'm going to use right now. But in terms of the idea of like more stashing stuff to use on a boss, or, you know, that whole thing of unlocking it for purchase in a shop or any of that just like faded away, and it was just survival, you know, kind of getting through it. But eventually, you know, I got there, and it's satisfying in a similar way to a kind of Ghouls and Ghosts sort of scenario. It's not nearly that restrictive, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's got some weird control choices, but like I said, you've got lots of control over your kind of jumps in the air. You've got lots of control over the directionality of your attacks and multiple attacks. And, you know, you're a ninja. You're going to have a game where you're playing as ninja characters. Like, you have to be capable. You can't be a lumbering man in armor, essentially.
With a chainsaw.
No, so you know, I feel like it's not that direct, but where it is similar to a Ghosts and Goblins, a Ghouls and Ghosts kind of experience, is just the fact that it's kind of rewarding and asking for a certain level of patience, precision, you know, kind of perseverance as well, you know, which admittedly I don't have as much of as I used to, certainly, especially, you know, when I was playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts as a kid or something like that. But, you know, it's not on a challenge on that level either. So it still balances out in a similar sort of place for me now. That was quite fun. And then coming back for the hard mode, it's harder in, you know, mostly ways that I can get behind, in terms of like, it's just the kind of, for instance, bosses might have a little extra wrinkles in their attack patterns that make it, you know, kind of tougher to dodge. Maybe you shrink your window for attacking them in the middle of their sort of patterns, but, you know, not so much that it's way more difficult or whatever. So it's been quite enjoyable just seeing some of these sections, like, it's mostly subtle stuff, but like a little bit fleshed out and like a little bit more challenging in the hard mode. The one thing they do that kind of, I guess, definitely made it significantly more difficult for me in this back half, which I have not quite finished because I'm in the middle of the last level, and I feel like that is going to be difficult, to be honest. But one thing they did in the normal difficulty is, like, when you would restart a particular thing enough times, so, you know, it could be the start of, you know, a mid-level checkpoint, it could be a boss, they start giving you like pity items Now, be under no sort of false assumptions. This is not the super guide by any means, but it's like, yeah, if you've died on a boss enough times, it'll start giving you like here's a little health item that you could consume if you can find a nice little window to rummage around in your bag and use it as a sub weapon or whatever, to help you beat the boss. And another thing that will crop up with that is like the the attack power. Sort of item for like your sword and the chain, which that's kind of a big deal because like most of the time when you take hits, you can find these things to boost your attack power, but as you take hits, it will bring it back down, which is, I'm not going to say it's like Blaster Master levels of like annoying by any means, because it's not that punishing, and it's not like your attacks are so terribly weak, even when they're not boosted by collectibles. But it's definitely nice to have playing a boss that you've died to a few times to just get like, okay, you could essentially start with higher attack power now. And, kind of speed things up a little bit and, kind of feels like you can make some progress on it faster. Well, naturally enough, when you play on hard, these things go away. So it's like, no pity items anymore. You've got to do this straight up. And what that means, it adds I guess maybe it adds a bit more pressure to like that first time when you reach a boss and you do have sub weapons or, some things that you can use. You're like, well, I'd really like to be able to clear this on this life, because if I die, I'm going to be stuck starting it with nothing. You know what I mean? Like that becomes then, it's like, yes, you have a checkpoint for the boss, but the double-edged sword kind of part of it is every time you fight the boss from now on, it's going to be with the most basic, kind of level of gear, of attack power and no secondary things or any of that sort of thing. But to be fair, all these bosses that I've managed to beat so far are designed in such a way that it's like when you really get it, like when you really understand how to attack safely, consistently, you can still beat them, even without any kind of legs up or whatever, any kind of crutches. It really does kind of make you understand. It kind of reinforces the fact that on normal, even though it was quite challenging, it didn't really feel like, I was breezing through anything, especially the back half. There were certain bosses that's just like, yeah, you kind of brute force this a bit because, maybe you got there with some items or just, you got to a point where, you could hit them with higher attack power and then, you had enough health left to kind of race them to the finish and you were always going to win. Whereas when you do it on the harder difficulty, it's like, no, you've got to be disciplined with your spacing at all times. Like, so it's just that you can't let these things be able to attack you while, you've got, while you're trying to get your licks in and stuff. So no, it scratched an itch for this kind of experience. And again, it just, as we've sure said with the demo, it looks sensational. Just absolutely adore the way it looks. This kind of, the very traditional method for making sprite art, but just applied, in a way that obviously in the age where that was the general way of doing things, certainly, they couldn't quite look this good in most cases. I mean, I guess, maybe certain kind of Neo Geo other arcade games and stuff kind of looked somewhat similar, but certainly games I actually played back then or, that were vaguely kind of in the consumer range or all that, just like it kind of looks like games you remember, but, even better and just even richer, just terrific looking and, very suitable music and all that. So the presentation's great. And I don't know if I get through the hard, whether I'll be getting into time attack and stuff, because that just seems like that's too advanced for me, to have the real mastery of the locomotion of the characters to the point where, we're shaving seconds off or any of that. So, I don't know that that's going to hold any lasting appeal in itself, but, just kind of working through the normal and the hard modes, for me, that's enough, even though it's not a terribly long game. It's 6 stages, it very much is, the kind of, length and breadth of an NES game that it's based on in most respects, but just when it's done this well and this beautifully, that's still, worth a fair bit to me, and I've enjoyed it quite a lot.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for what might be our collectively oldest new business ever. Going through it, there's a lot of remakes and collections in there. So when we come back, you're gonna get to hear John again. You can decide if that's exciting to you or not.
I mean, it should be.
We're gonna do. Sometimes we're gonna do.
Right now. Let me just say that right now, I'm sure there is a large segment of our audience saying, "Where's John? I need John. This episode needs more John." And I can tell you that I don't really have any new business. Been playing some Diablo 4, some FC25 still. So, but just nothing super notable. But I'm still here for you, people. I'm still here. You touch your smartphone or whatever you're listening to this. You touch it, and I'm touching my laptop right now, and I'm speaking to you that I'm here for you.
Like, forget the listeners. I mean, like, I was thinking, like, where's John? I need John. That's all I've been thinking
James?
On the loop.
You see?
For the past hour.
It's Guillaume. Soft-hearted Guillaume. He cares,
Soft-hearted Guillaume. Have you ever said that? Which, by the way, might be the episode title. Who could say? What I was going to say is I disagree that large portions of the audience are asking where's John, because that would imply the existence of a large audience from which we could make a portion, and I'm not 100% convinced sometimes.
No, come on. I'm the flavor on the podcast. Greg is the logic. Guillaume is the passion.
Oh, here we go.
You are the chaos, and I am the flavor.
Chaos?
Yes. So, all right.
The
so
chaos. I host the fucking show. I'm the chaos.
I know.
I'm the only structure the show has.
Nobody. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, just do a poll of our listeners and see who agrees and who does not agree with you being the chaos on the podcast. We'll see. I'm just saying.
Audience, send your poll answers to rfn at nintendoworldreport.com. Your choices are, no, James is the backbone that holds the show together, or B, John is an idiot. Those are your choices. You can pick from the two. It's a fair poll, A or B. Again, that's rfn at nintendoworldreport.com. When we come back, you'll get to hear more things that came from rfn at nintendoworldreport.com. I may have threatened you. Who can say? But some of you responded, and because apparently there's thousands of people, throngs of listeners, absolutely apoplectic at John's extended silence, I'm going to let him read the first email. Do I know what it is? Yeah, I know what it is.
Of course you do.
So stay tuned for that. It's not the Pac-Man Ghost one.
It's going to be some bullshit. That's for sure.
I'm going to handle the Pac-Man Ghost one. Don't worry. So stay tuned. They're all some bullshit. They're all bullshit. Did you see? Our audience knows who we are. Again,
they know who you are, James.
We love you. We'll be back shortly. So threats work. I don't know. Did I threaten anybody last week about emails? I strongly extolled the value of sending us emails. I still do that. I still extol the value of an email. And with 900 coming up, in fact, it's not next week, but the week after, and I don't have a plan yet. Fuck me, I guess. Emails. For our 900th episode, for this momentous moment, I need you to send an email. And, maybe we'll put a ton of... Maybe you all will bequeath upon us such a bounty of emails that we'll be able to produce an episode around them that has some form of coherency, because you all have asynchronously created an episode format that is both coherent and consistent, but also enjoyable for us to produce and you to listen to. Am I counting on that? I might be, because I haven't planned anything for 900. I might be hoping against hope that happally happens. But you can be a part of that. You can be a part of episode 9. You can be a part of history. There we go. You can be a part of history by sending your email to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com, especially if it is particularly wired to being part of episode 900. I can't promise it will be there, but it definitely won't be there if you don't send it. So, if you want to live with that remorse for the rest of your life, sit on your email. Don't send it. But I promise you, on your deathbed, you will be thinking, this is like the third week in a row I've mentioned what you'll be thinking about when you're dying. One of them, it was an alarm clock with Mario's fucking face on it. So, after you finish thinking about Labo quotes, about Nintendo's fear of making an alarm clock too good that you won't be able to sleep, then you'll think about that email you wanted to send us. And maybe it was about their concern that they have made it too compelling an alarm clock experience, which is a phrase no one's ever said before. But it'll be too late. It will be too late. So, emails, send them before something happens to you to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. That sounds like a threat.
That sounds like a threat, yes.
That sounds like a threat. And I'm not promising it isn't. rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. We have plausible deniability. And if you do that, well, I won't have to inform the court that you can read that sentence two different ways and you decide what the meaning is. But you can't decide beyond the shadow of a doubt that I was threatening people. So, what happens if you send an email? Well, we read it on the show, and I haven't posted it in the chat, so John can't read it. Give me 1 second, such that it is in the chat, so that he might.
Boy, oh boy, I can't wait.
It's actually not that bad. There you go.
All right.
I ended up not giving you the one that I was because it's too much.
Okay. Enter from the forums here. You are tasked by Nintendo to form a Broadway or off-Broadway theater show based on one of their properties. What are you going with? Easy picks, I think, would be something like Xenoblade 1 that uses 2.5D theater projection elements seen in the Attack on Titan musical. I just would like to see Adam Howden or someone like him perform the I'll kill you line live. Also, I think a WarioWare musical might be surprisingly good.
I think it would need to be a musical for WarioWare where they just stop the musical periodically and have to play a minigame. Kind of like the late movie.
You would think it'd really stress like the costume changing and the background set dressing and all that. Like, how quickly can you do this? It's going to be like doing an F1 pit stop, but on stage many, many, many times.
I think what you do is you've got like you have to be big stages, and you'd have small sets that take up about a fifth of the stage. And you put the whole stage in darkness and you spotlight the section that's currently active. And that gives you essentially 30 seconds to swap out a set after it's done to the next set. It's supposed to be kind of quick change. So maybe they're on wheels and you rotate them and there's 4 sets. And then you would pull out the whole thing and bring in the next 4 sets. I think the biggest challenge, though, is you're going to have to find identical quintuplets to play every role because you're not going to have enough time to quick change them between things. So at some point, there needs to be a hot dog. You can't say that, all right, he was a fairy godmother, then a hot dog, then a fly in 5 seconds. You're going to need 5 identical twins. One's dressed as the hot dog while the other one is currently on stage as the fairy godmother. It's just the way it's going to have to be. So I think there is actually an appeal, like if you were to put it in Playbill, that it's the first off-Broadway that is staffed entirely by quintuplets or more. I think there's enough novelty there that you could certainly get coverage. Is it going to be positive coverage? All publicity is good publicity, I guess. So, I mean, people wanted to go to that Spider-Man musical after it tried to kill its cast. So, I mean, I figure it's got to be something good to go with it. Also, I've been made Attack on Titan musical. Sounds fucking terrible. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you could also do something like a Guitar Hero musical where somebody is literally like a pinball wizard, like could be the Guitar Hero. You could do
so
that.
it would be about someone who's really good at Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Rather than taking place in the Guitar Hero universe.
It sounds like the Gran Turismo movie.
It does, yes. But I mean, it is the wizard too. Like it doesn't take place in Mario 3 because the game's not out yet. He's just really good at it, despite the fact it's not out yet, and he knows where all the whistles are. Again, despite the fact this is his first time playing it. That's what makes him a wizard, and by that I mean he's from the future. A Nintendo musical.
Still, on the subject of the Xenoblade musical idea, I'm in favour of that because it gives us the chance to reuse the "Oh my God, it was Earth all along" song from the Planet of the Apes musical that only exists in The Simpsons.
I was just gonna say, I'm counting down the minutes until until Greg drops a Dr. Zaius reference.
It was the part I was born to play, John. What can I say?
I know.
It's a very good joke though, so it's fine. I think I see the vision here, and we're going way off Broadway. We're going so far off Broadway, we're in New Jersey with our Kirby the Musical. So, what does that mean? Well, it means most of the people are going to be like on wires and just wearing like big plastic bubbles and stuff. Like, Kirby's just a big pink bubble. So there'll be somebody in a big pink bubble, and every so often he'll activate a vacuum cleaner inside, and they'll throw confetti shaped like the enemies at him. Does not sing, obviously, because it's Kirby, but all the other characters around him singing. He just sort of dances. Again, way off Broadway. Like I don't even know where the stage would be. It's probably outside. We probably don't even have a rent. But I think there's some opportunity here for people in big King DDD suits being dragged across the stage while suspended from the air by people wearing all black, so we don't see them, even though we obviously see them on cables yanking him left and right. Potential. Besides the other obvious choice, which is a Disaster Day of Crisis musical. Like, Ode to Steve Hewitt is going to be a hell of a banger of a song.
I feel like it makes more sense as a musical.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, think about the Tonys you would win.
Because it just kind of then it would make, you know what I mean? It makes more sense in terms of, it would be like somebody just decided to do a musical that was a sort of pastiche / homage / spoof of all those 90s disaster movies.
Yeah.
Which I think works better than just doing a video game of those things in the aughts. Like it just, I feel like it would work. The kind of farcical nature of it could be leveraged more in musical form than it was in video game form.
Let's just imagine the bear as he's chasing our hero through a burning wood, stopping and singing a soliloquy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the bear is going for the Tony for sure.
Oh, I think everybody is. I think the mech is going to get a supporting actor role, because in case you've forgotten, at one point you fight a mech with the handgun.
Yeah.
On the deck of an aircraft carrier over a weather making machine. Oh, is it weather making or is it earthquake making or is it yes?
I think it's earthquake making. I think.
Okay, but there is weather stuff going on too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, who's going to play the tornado? Right.
So does the fire tornado get an actor or is it just a stage effect? I like the idea of the fire tornado having a solo. But I kind of would rather have the giant hamburger in the trash can have a solo. And, like, we could only give so many inanimate objects.
The final fight meat, basically. It's there.
Yeah. The pocket watch might be.
You could definitely get a song out of the cleansing breath thing, I think.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right. That is a good one. Or the driving away from the...
It's like the Ray is kind of like, I can't go on. I just, all that too much smoke inhalation, and then some, plucky person just teaches him how to do a deep cleansing breath with in the form of a song, and then we can move on. It's perfect.
I think the visual I have there is as the person teaching him to do the cleansing breath comes through, that's when you realize that a bunch of people wearing gray have shuffled into the background, and they're lit in such a way that you can only see their face because they've like lightened up their faces, and they're just in the background chanting, breathe, 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 to the beat of the song. Why would they do that? Because it would be stupid and terrible and bad music. So it's perfect for a musical. Like, it's artistically bankrupt. Perfect.
And also, nobody expects anything good to come out of it either.
Yeah, I mean, it is the lowest form of stage performance. Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Always has been, always will be. So yeah, it's miserable. Like any format that allows the Sound of Music to exist inside of its confines is inherently fucking terrible. Sound of Music made me almost want to root for the bad guys. Think about, if you know the context of that musical, think about how fucking terrible that is. But I was ready to see the Von Trapps get it. So I think this is better than that, because this doesn't have a rich family being forced to wear their drapes to prove a point. I don't understand. This has got real drama. I also think it just shouldn't have. It should have less songs, much less. I think it could have a couple musical numbers, but it should mostly be acting. Just because that's better. It just is. It just fucking is. So I mean, I think Ray. I think the gimmick of this one, and I can't remember what stage show did this, but Ray is played by multiple actors. And there's a reason. It's his emotion, the emotion he's feeling in that moment drives the actor who's out on stage. So when he's afraid for his life, it's a different actor than when he's angry.
But you tie it to modal kind of things in the game, right? So it's a different actor when he's playing Ray, driving the car, when it's into the screen, so you can't actually see where it's going.
That's the angriest Ray.
Yeah,
yes.
So you got to get the one kind of actor for that. That could be like, I don't know, like somebody who's doing their best version, like Joe Pesci in Casino. He's going to put your head in a vice and pop your eyeball out. He's so angry that he can't see where he's going when he's driving.
Well, they had to show you the wave behind him. They couldn't just tell you there's a giant wave behind him. If only there was some component of a car where you could see what's behind you. That they could have put that in. If only. I think the pocket watch scene probably does need a song.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that's already been done in Pulp Fiction, the musical.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think it was a pocket watch in that case.
I get your point. I do like, though, the idea of when he opens it, it's the face of Steve that Steve has. Essentially, we turn it into a locket instead of a pocket watch, and then we open it up, and we realize Steve just had a picture of himself inside a locket. I feel like that there's... Actually, it could be one of those ones where there's a picture on both sides, and both of them are just Steve.
Yeah.
Like, we see one side, and we're like, who's on the other side of it? Oh, it's him again. Okay, that's fine. And then at the end we can reveal it's a pocket watch, and Ray's just stupid. It's just like, no, Ray, you're having PTSD. It's a pocket watch. There's no pictures inside. You absolute buffoon. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this is the way. I think the budget's gonna have to be really... No, instead of having a big dumb budget for the driving into the screen tidal wave scene, it's just a bunch of bad actors wearing blue who are like doing like the wacky, what are those things called? The inflatable wacky man arms. But they're just doing that on risers. That's how we simulate a wave. And you put wheels on the risers so they're pushed towards the audience.
Yeah, it has to be pretty terrible like that. Or like them holding like wooden waves or something like that.
They're
making sounds.
There you go.
Yeah.
There was a musical of Shrek, the first Shrek, that actually got pretty good reviews because it had really elaborate stage presence and stuff. And then it went away. And they brought it back. I want to say they brought it back in London. And the budget was, let's say, much less than the one that did the tours and people thought was really great. And let's just say the reviews were not good for the revival. Very bad. And the costumes were questionable. That's what I want. But I want that to be the premiere night show. I don't want the show to get worse. I want the show to start bad and stay bad. Like don't improve either. But with 9 actors playing Ray, pretty good chance it won't. So, thumbs up to that. Beat that.
Well, I guess, the easy answer is Princess Peach Showtime, because that's all about putting on shows, so it's just built
That's
in.
fair.
But Mario more generally, right? Like, especially like Super Mario Bros. 3 has like this sort of the title screen, these kind of this almost suggestion that it's all a show. So yeah, something with Super Mario Bros. 3 could be done, I think.
Ooh, that is a good one, but man, that's gonna be a lot of sets.
You'd think so, yeah, but I'm sure you could do some fun stuff with like the world where everything's like giant or whatever, and obviously the world of the clouds and the Koopa Kids and all the stuff, the ships and the crazy giant hand that comes and grabs you in the dark world or whatever. Like there's a lot of fun props you could make if you had the budget to do it right. Which
The tank's weirdly made out of wood.
Yes, the wooden tanks.
Because we can't get another texture in this fucking game.
Yeah, so it's like, well, we've got to use the airship texture on something. This is what they've got. This is what we can work with.
God. I ran into those the other day because I was playing through it. I'm like, oh, it's right, the wooden tanks. That's so fucking stupid. Guillaume.
I'm struggling. I don't know. Like, there was a bit where I was trying to keep an open mind and watch a few musicals, and like almost inevitably, there was like just the one song that I recognized from each of them. So maybe like make a musical of all the Nintendo properties, and then just keep that one song and call it the Smash Brothers musical. I don't know if it's cheating, but it's like, come on, just like, let's get a musical that's actually all bangers, and none of that, like, yeah, sure, I heard of that. Actually, like, I'm not sure if West Side Story even had a single song that I had heard before, but maybe that's just too old. I don't know. I'm not a huge musical guy. I'm sorry.
I would think. I would be surprised because there's a couple of West Side Story songs that are reasonably well known, but that's okay. That's fair.
I mean, yeah, there's like the snapping the fingers thing, like, but that's is that a song? I know.
It's part of a song.
Yeah,
it's the intro to a song,
right? And that's the part of that song that I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, John. I need you to put on your musical theater hat.
Always on. Yeah.
Okay. And I need you to change Broadway forever. I didn't say for the better. But what is your Nintendo branded production that will change Broadway forever?
Nintendo branded. I don't know. I would say, aside from, Disaster, Day of Crisis, of course, which is an easy one. It would have to be something that, has, memorable characters and an epic storyline. Something that can really get people going You know?
Yoshi's New Island. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And does it have to be Nintendo?
I mean, that is the nature of the question.
All right. It has to be Nintendo.
Nintendo hired us, so they're probably going to be really mad if we go and make one about the Power Team.
Yeah.
I do want to say we kind of. I feel like we've dropped an easy suggestion here because the idea of like a WarioWare musical, but you know if you go to say WarioWare plus music, you kind of get Rhythm Heaven to a degree. So there should definitely be a Rhythm Heaven musical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's true, but it'd be so chaotic. I'm not sure how you'd put a story together, but. That's fine.
It'd be, sort of vignettes, wouldn't it? It'd be like the whatever, how many stories about Springfield or whatever that's got the steamed hams thing in it. It'd be like that.
There you go.
But involving like people playing badminton or table tennis.
Right, and would it include like audience participation? Like, would they be like, okay, help us keep the beat?
Yes, definitely. I think that finally get the lazy sods involved.
Mm-hmm. Maybe West Side Story earlier was not the best example. What about Fame?
I don't
know the one song
about musicals. I've got that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I detest this form. They're like stage shows are fine. Musicals are not. They're just not. But we don't have to have music. We keep saying musicals, but Broadway doesn't necessarily have to be musical. It could just be a really nice stage production. It could be fucking Hamlet. So like, what is the most Hamlet of Nintendo franchises?
Well, again, you already picked Kirby, so
Kirby doesn't give a fuck about that blood spot.
I was just like, picturing something really low budget, really experimental, like just some dude in a pink shirt just holding a tomato and doing a soliloquy, or maybe just like pondering the tomato.
Just is that the whole for an hour and a half?
Basically.
I think Star Fox would probably be a good one for a musical. It's has ridiculous characters and it could be very dramatic and over the top.
Well, that's true. It's just an elaborate puppet show. Just to have it actually be a puppet show. Yeah.
I think Star Fox is a one-man puppet show.
Yeah.
Where they don't try to hide, one of those ones that don't hide the wires of the puppeteer. He's just sitting in a chair and you can see him the whole time.
Yeah, or something akin to like the Muppet movies. Because those always had musical numbers in them.
That's true.
It's not easy being green. All right.
I'm just trying to get away from the music. I think it's too...
But you can't, man. It's in your soul.
So basically, Slippy would just steal that song wholesale from...
Yeah.
Yeah, so he sort of inhales and is about to say green, and then Falco sweeps in and says, being shit at your job.
And he's right.
Yeah.
And he's right. You fucking suck, Slippy. Get a goddamn wrench and get out of the ship. You don't belong here. And take fucking Grippy with you. God damn it. All right. We've done enough damage to theater as a whole.
Have we?
No, it deserves more, but I don't have more to give it right now. So we're going to move on to the next email. And I asked for games. And I get games from GX. And that's it. Nobody else makes games. And I am distraught at this. Like, you guys could make games. Games are fun. This is a podcast about games. You know what makes a game good. You know what makes a game bad. Make a game. GX knows what makes a game bad and stridently pursues that with every step. And I respect it. GX writes, Yo, Tendo boys. That's apostrophe Tendo. October is the annual spooky times and the month where I personally celebrate gaming's most pure, glorious, and strangely enduring mascot, Pac-Man. Thus, I present to you a quiz about ghosts. Peace. So I will bring up this quiz about ghosts. And I have looked at it already to see what this quiz was about, and Yep. Sure is about ghosts. I have not looked at the answers, though, so I can play along as well. Because GX, as I have noted in the previous one, very helpfully sends all of his stuff hidden, and I can just press a button and see the answer, which means I can play too. Well, you can probably name the 4 main ghosts of Pac-Man. John, can you name the 4 main ghosts of Pac-Man?
Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde.
Yep. How familiar are...
And Sue.
Oh, it's going to come up. How familiar are you with the extended Pac-Man cast? In each group that's a bad speech. In each group, 2 ghosts are named real Pac-Man series characters, and 1 is not. Pick out the fake ghost name. But, as a trick to go with this treat, 1 and only 1 of the groups doesn't have any fakes at all. So no fakes is a potential answer too. Regardless of Alt Games' rights nonsense, this quiz does not consider Bally Midway games, Miss Pac-Man, etc. as real Pac-Man games. But it does consider, my apologies. So Miss Pac-Man does count. So your Pac-Mom is still here. But it doesn't include any characters exclusive to the GameCube Pac-Man, the CG Pac-Man cartoon, because it's bad. And I haven't seen more than half an episode of it. He is right. This is Pac-Man, The Ghostly Adventures, I think. It is bad. Seeing half an episode is punishment enough. The Hanna-Barbera Pac-Man cartoon is also bad, but I've seen more of it, so it might be in the quiz. Fuck. I added that. That was me. That wasn't him. All right, so just a reminder how this game works. He sent us 3 potential names of Pac-Man ghosts. It is possible that all of them are real, but for the majority of these, 1 is fake. We need to name the fake. So, gentlemen, our first set of ghost names, I don't know why I'm putting so many dramatic pauses in this, is Funky, Candy, and Winky. Winky. Funky, Candy, and Winky. Now, before you put your guesses in, let me get my scoring
What's
tally
my guess? Which ones are fake?
One of those.
One max is
one
fake.
of them.
Right, but it is possible that none is fake.
Yeah.
Which is really not helping. But okay.
I'm still kind of shocked that means 2 of those are legit, because I mean, it's pretty obvious that all of those have been chosen because they're also from Donkey Kong Country.
Right.
Except that Winky would be, isn't it like Wrinkly Kong? Is there
no,
a Winky Kong?
Winky is the frog.
Yeah, there is a Winky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then the question is, all right, because we don't know what pieces of the Pac-Man verse these comes from. Is this Rare copying a Pac-Man thing, or Pac-Man thing copying Rare?
Or just the creative bankruptcy of putting E on the end of anything?
That's true, yeah. And we don't know that all 3 of these, if they are all real, are from the same thing.
No, I suppose not. But still, I'm shocked. Even as many as 2 of them are real in this case.
Yeah.
But they're really, I guess this is the mind-expanding nature of this quiz, especially if someone likes Pac-Man games well enough, but certainly hasn't played nearly all of them and doesn't know terribly much about it.
It hasn't watched the Hanna-Barbera.
I haven't, no. I understand Pac-Land, references it quite a lot, right?
It does, yes.
It's got, the theme song in it or something. But yeah, that's about the extent of it.
What are the names again? What are the names again, James?
I was about to read them to you. Funky, Candy, and Winky.
Okay. I would say Funky is fake. That's my guess.
All right. Mine's Candy. I just don't feel like they would have named a ghost Candy. I just can't.
I'm also, Candy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Candy, I think.
All right, so the answer is, drumroll, Candy is the fake. Funky is a green ghost from Pac-Mania 1987. Winky is the purple ghost in sparkly blue dress from the Bubble Bobble clone.
Yeah, I figured Wendy was real.
The Bubble Bobble clone, Pac-Man Pop, 2016. I'm horrified that he put this much work into it. All right. Now that we understand the format, Pesky, Dinky, and Sue. So John gave one of these away. Mm-hmm. We know Sue is real. So the question is,
I'd say Dinky. Dinky would be my guess.
Yeah, it sounds bad. Let's go with Dinky.
Yeah, I think that sounds like something again that like Rare would have been more apt to, like a British thing. It doesn't ring quite right for Pac-Man, but yeah, so I'll go with that.
I'm going with Pesky just to be different this time. I don't have anything to like. I was like, yeah, it's got to be Dinky, but I don't want to go all in. All right, let's see. Pesky is the fake. Ooh. Dinky is a child ghost from the Hanna-Barbera Pac-Man cartoon. Sue is the orange ghost in Miss Pac-Man, though she would be purple in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon and all subsequent games.
Yeah, I thought it might be Pesky because usually they don't name ghosts in kind of like a, I guess you could say, disparaging way, usually.
Yeah.
But Dinky was also... I felt like
pretty
it was
disparaging. Yeah.
Well, I felt like it was almost a little bit too predictable, almost like a little bit too obvious. Like it might be like a swerve, you know.
I've seen one of the sets coming up, and it's terrible. So this is fun. But that's not this one. This one, Wandy. 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 Minty. And Tim. Like, I kind of want this one to be.
I love the way that is a name that is commonly appended as Timmy, but no, just Tim actually.
And that leads me down the road of like, this is the one where I think they're all real.
They're all too rubbish to not be fake.
Yeah, they're all garbage, so they must be real.
Oh dear me. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Tim. Why not?
I'll go with Tim. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. If there is a fake one, like that's too bland to know. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Wandy makes no sense though.
But also that's why you might think
Wandy's just so shit. That's gotta be real.
Right.
What was the other one? There wasn't Tim or Wandy.
Minty.
I'm gonna say Minty's fake.
That's real. No way.
All right.
No way. Minty has to be real.
I'm going all real.
That's valuable as well, man.
I'm going all real. John and Guillaume are going Tim, and Greg, you're going Minty.
Yeah.
All right, let's see where this shit goes. Minty is the fake.
Yes.
Wandy is the white.
I knew Wandy was too shit not to be real. I knew.
All right.
Wow.
I'm going to award a bonus point that I'm not eligible for because I already know it. What do you think they did to make Wandy stand out? I will note that it is a white ghost.
I don't know. Did he have like a magical trail around him or something, like a magical wand kind of thing?
Okay. Anybody else want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, that's the logical thing. It can't be that. It's got to be something more counterintuitive. It's got to be something more rubbish. I just don't know what that is.
All right.
Yeah, I guess a wizard.
I'm gonna give Guillaume credit. He is Wandy is a white ghost in a wizard's hat and the final boss of Pac-Man All-Stars 2002.
Nice.
So Greg and Guillaume both get a point. Let me go look at what the other one was. And Tim is the orange ghost in Junior Pac-Man 1980. That's the one that's like a pinball game, too.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. This is the one where I saw it and went, oh, boy. Now, as I scroll down, there's an even bigger oh, boy after that. So that's cool. Glitchy, creepy, and sneaky. Oh, I hate all three of these.
Yeah, I'm tempted to invoke your rationale for the last one, for this one. that they're all rubbish
they're all so
and therefore
shit.
they're all legit.
I think they're all legit. I mean, there's a level of idiocy here I did not anticipate.
I mean, GX does nothing if not plumb the depths. I'm gonna go with Glitchy is the fake.
I'm saying Sneaky.
Okay, all right. The answer is Guillaume. Sneaky is the fake.
Mm-hmm.
Glitchy is the multicolored ghost that emits kill screen graphics in Pac-Man 256.
That's what I thought.
Nice.
I figured if it was anywhere, it was going to be that game.
Yeah, because that's the whole point, right? Is about that name is a reference to the kill screen.
Yeah.
In Pac-Man, so
yeah.
The whole game about how you can't evade death forever.
I hate.
It's very deep.
Finally, I need something to remind me of that.
I hate Creepy. I hate Creepy so much. Creepy is a ghost that looks like a Minecraft creeper for the Minecraft X Pac-Man collaboration DLC. Holy shit. All right. So this one upsets me.
Good.
Itchy, as in itchy and scratchy.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky. Okay, sure. And Orson. As in Orson Welles.
Yes.
You gotta get, or it would be a shock if Orson wasn't real. Well, much sort of like Tim, although it's not quite as mundane.
Itchy is super on the nose, so that one feels real.
I'd say Spooky has to be fake.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's too obvious.
I feel like it's the Sneaky of this group, based on Guillaume getting that last one.
Like this one even more so than the first one. Now I'm leaning towards no, they're all real.
I'm also going. They're all real.
All right, so you and me are all real. Greg, you were.
I'm gonna go Spooky's fake, but a lot of it I don't want to play that it's all real card twice in a row. It just feels wrong.
And John, you were.
Spooky is fake.
All right. All three of these are real. Itchy is the light green ghost from Apple Arcade's Pac-Man Party Royale 2019. Orson is the greenish gray ghost that pilots Talkman, the final boss of Pac-Man World 1999. What?
That was Orson was always going to be real. There was just no way that wasn't real.
Spooky is gray armor-clad ghost and the final boss of Pac-Man World 2 2002. What the fuck is going on?
So lazy. A ghost called Spooky. It's just.
Oh yeah.
That is dire.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. It's bad. All right. I'm gonna give a score update. We got 2 of these left. John, you are not doing well.
No, I don't think I have any points.
You have none points.
Yeah.
Greg, you have 2 points. I have 3. Guillaume is sitting at 4 points.
Nice.
So, John, you literally cannot win. Now,
yeah, that's unsurprising.
But now the good news for that is none of us can win. Not in this game. But
no.
Guillaume can have the most points. Now, the good news is we've now eliminated all of them are real from the playbook. Mm-hmm. We're down to 3. There are 3 choices now.
And I mean, I would feel like I had lost even if I won, for the record.
That's true. And you would have. All right. One of these 3 is fake. We know this to be true. Kinky, Spunky, or Moxie. Now, do I think GX would have written this just to force me to say Kinky so that he could isolate it and do something with it? Yes. Yes, I do.
Kinky has to be fake. There's no way. There's no way there would be a ghost called Kinky in a Pac-Man game.
For me, Moxie is most likely to be real, right? So
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
What you're left with is, are you betting Spunky or Kinky? Those are the options, basically.
So the thing is, the only person he hasn't gotten to say Kinky for whatever shit he wants to do with it is Guillaume.
It has to be Kinky. Always.
And I was going to say...
don't make his life
I would say
too
Moxie
easy,
is fake. Yeah.
All right. No, that's fair. All right. I'm going to go with Spunky. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
No way. I'm spunky all day, every day.
Oh. Did you just miss Greg saying not make his life too easy?
give me this answer. This is a big one.
I'm genuinely on the fence between Spunky and what was the other one again? Sorry, Kinky.
Kinky? Kinky is going to be like from the X-rated version of Pac-Man World that was only distributed in Japan. You know,
from the days when kids weren't allowed in Japanese arcades, so Namco was like, "All right, boys, we're finally able to go public with that Kinky design we've been working on."
We're gonna fuck that ghost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus.
I'm going. I'm going Spunky. Spunky's fake.
All right. Well, it didn't matter because you were both wrong. Guillaume nailed it. Moxie is the fake.
Oh,
wow.
God. Again.
I don't know how I'm doing so well. I basically only played the
reverse
championship game.
psychology this again. With like the most sensible one beating the fake one. That's what he's doing.
All right, so John extolling me to explain Kinky. All right, I'm gonna do that. Moxie is the fake. Kinky is a yellow ghost from Pac-Man Arrangement, 1996, that can fuse with other ghosts and give them special powers. That's what we're calling it now, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it's the same as that oxygen tent that Homer was sleeping in the Venus de Milo Gummy Bear episode.
Spunky is a gray ghost from Pac-Mania, 1987. All right, last round. This is obviously from some Japanese content. Miru, M-I-R-U, Toru, T-O-R-U, or Yum Yum, which is just the word yum with an M dash and the word yum again. Yum Yum is definitely real.
Yeah,
Yum Yum has to be real.
And again, Pac-Man, it's all about eating. That's where Pac-Man comes from. So just like, gotta be.
Yum Yum is definitely real. Too stupid.
So do these Japanese names mean anything?
I mean, yeah. Toru is. I mean, they're both names, Miru and Toru. I can't remember what Toru means now. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Miru. I think.
So Toru means take, maybe. Miru means look.
I'd say
Yum Yum.
Miru, probably.
Yum Yum means yum yum.
It's kind of a universal term.
It's gremlin language. Yum.
That was good.
Man.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Toru. I think I'm going with Toru.
Yeah, I'm also going Toru.
Makes no sense for me to match up with what Guillaume and James are doing because I've theoretically got to gain points, but I agree with the Toru.
John?
Oh, Miru.
All right. Miru is a friendly green ghost in Pac and Pal, 1983. What the fuck is Pac and Pal?
Oh, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Yum Yum is a red ghost from Junior Pac-Man, 1983, the daughter of Blinky and the love interest of Junior Pac-Man. What?
So,
what?
Star-crossed lovers
in a pinball / arcade machine. Toru Iwatani isn't a ghost, but he is the creator of Pac-Man.
Oh, of course.
All right, it's a nice little pivot there at the end. I don't know that I need to put the score together because Guillaume just continued.
Runaway.
Yep.
Somehow.
Well, you're the Pac master, Guillaume.
4 to 2 to 5 to 0.
You are the Pac-Man. The man. Get it?
Man.
No, dog. No. Yeah,
wow.
I don't know how to. Maybe I'm just good at this quiz. I don't think I'm a master of Pac-Man. I think I'm a master of GX's terrible quiz.
Maybe you're just a Pac maniac.
How long have you had that Pac-Man fever? Can you sing the song for?
You could be honest. We won't judge.
I need to know more about all of these like ones where I read it and I'm like, that's not a real. Did he make up the game to make up the answer? What is this? Pac and Pal is such a stupid name that I need to go look it up now. And that upsets me because I was better off in a world where I didn't look up Pac and Pal, but here we are.
So wait, so Kinky was real.
Kinky was real.
I played that game as well, or a version of it, the Pac-Man arrangement from I think
and Pal.
It was part of like they did a GBA like little collection of Pac-Man stuff, arcade games, and that was one of the ones that was in it as arrangement. So yeah, that is again my knowledge and experience of all things Pac-Man is partial to say the least because he's been in a lot of stuff. As this is reminded of stuff that you won't even necessarily think about, like the early aughts or like the smartphone era, all this different stuff. But I've actually played the game with fucking Kinky in it, and I still couldn't get it.
So, Pac and Pal was originally going to be released in North America by Midway Games under the name Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp, which replaced Miru with Pac-Man's dog from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon series. Chomp Chomp was never released in America, and a limited run of 300 machines produced for several European countries. So the PAL is Miru, the green. So this is how it runs down. Players control Pac-Man as he must eat items in an enclosed maze while avoiding 4-colored ghosts to pursue him. So far, so the same. Pac-Man is assisted by a green-colored creature named Miru, also called Mill, the titular PAL, who brings the items back to the center box. So she just picks up shit and brings it back? Okay, I guess. Pac-Man can also unlock power-ups that allow him to briefly stun the ghosts. That's, sure. Whatever. Pac and Pal. Great. This is the third in-house developed Pac-Man game by Namco after Super Pac-Man, which is not for the Super Nintendo, despite its name.
No, isn't that the one where the final Smash in Smash Brothers comes from, where he's like giant, but ostensibly it's not that he's giant, it's that he's flying over the maze, so he just seems bigger.
Yeah, he has a cape and everything.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
So
I never figured that out.
No, it's a bloody silly thing.
In the art, he has a cape because he is Super Pac-Man.
Naturally.
Yep.
Alexander Salkind tried to get the rights to Super Pac-Man for so long.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah.
All right, John, I'm going to give you a chance to earn a point because it doesn't make a difference.
The pity point.
No. This is a real question.
You're careful. John's going to be all like Saruman when they go to see him after he's lost. And he's just going to shoot a fireball out of his staff. He doesn't want your pity or your mercy.
Yep.
All right. Super Pac-Man was released on many of the systems of the era. It was an arcade, Commodore 64, IBM PC, and later it got a release on mobile phones. It does not have an arcade archive release, although Pac and Pal does. However, there's one system in here that I had never heard of, and I'm now looking at it. Called the Sword M5, not SWORD. That would make sense. SORD space M5. I'm going to give you this question thusly. I could tell you it is a Japanese system, but it was released in other markets, including one Eastern Bloc market. Can you guess which one it was?
An Eastern Bloc market.
An Eastern Bloc market that would have taken Western home computers in 1982. That's your hint.
Would have been like the Ukraine?
No. Because they'd have been part of the Soviet Union at that point.
Right. I mean, I guess that's how you define Eastern Bloc. I mean, is that
a country behind the Iron Curtain?
But not actually part of the USSR.
I mean, it could have been, but Ukraine was fully consumed.
But
so
Poland, for instance, that would be part of the Eastern Bloc, but not in the USSR.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
Yeah, I suppose at that time it would have been part of the USSR. Correct, Ukraine.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah, but that is not the answer. So the hint that I think will give Greg this is it is a country that was willing enough to dodge the Soviet Union's anti-Westernism when it was convenient.
I mean, would it have been? I don't know. I mean, would it have been East Germany?
No, it wasn't East Germany. It was Czechoslovakia.
Okay.
Because they would occasionally just do stuff that was, let's say, not what the Soviets would have liked them to do.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever got Ceausescu levels of just like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, I can't. I also can't say that I'm familiar with the history of video game consoles in Czechoslovakia.
Why not?
Yeah,
that is a blind spot for me.
My projection of it being a pity point is withdrawn.
Yeah, no, I go hard in the paint.
Absolutely pitiless.
It was also released in the UK for just the most random markets you could release one system in. Czechoslovakia, Japan, and the UK. Fuck it. Why? And why did somebody decide to port this random Pac-Man to it?
Yeah, but what's like was it like a bootleg of another system, or was it its own thing?
Near as I can tell, it is written. It is written on pure basic F.
Okay.
And so no-ish. But I would assume other things written for certain derivatives of basic might have run on it.
Yeah.
I had never even heard of Sword Computer Corporation, but freakishly, they apparently still exist and are part of Toshiba now.
Weird.
Oh, I know. Toshiba sold off the business and it reverted its name. Yeah, they still exist. Weird.
Yeah.
That's very, very odd.
So it was sort of like a fly-by-night PC.
Yeah.
From 1982.
Yeah, that somehow made it into the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It was one of those like single piece units too, where like the keyboard and the computer and all of it are all just one big slab.
Mm-hmm. So kind of like a Commodore 64 sort of deal.
A little bit. And yet for whatever reason it got a port of Super Pac-Man.
That is so weird.
Fuck it. I love when we open things up and suddenly it's like, what is that system? And then now I've gone down a hole. Okay, it seems to have released throughout Europe for the most part. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. That's less distressing than our target markets are the UK, Czechoslovakia, and Japan. Because that's a combination that you would just assume that person is on. I mean, it's the 80s, so cocaine. So much cocaine. But no, it seems to have done a good chunk of Western Europe, Malaysia, New Zealand. So yeah, okay. There is some kind of logic here, but it did come with its own carrying case. Apparently, they're a lot like the MSX, so perfect. But it took cartridges, compact cassettes, and floppy disks.
So it was what? Was it the M5? I'm just looking at their Wikipedia entry here.
Yes.
So yeah, a home computer that primarily competed in the Japanese market.
What the fuck is this? Like,
what the fuck is this? The M68, a dual 8 16-bit computer using both 68,000 and Z80 CPUs? Why? Was released in Japan in 1983. Why would you do that?
Because everything was legally mandated to have a Z80 processor in it for like 20 years.
God, good lord.
Like, everything had a fucking Z80 in it. It was insane. It's like, oh yeah, what's in here, a Z80? Of course it is. Of course it fucking is. Why wouldn't it be a Z80? Or they might have had an 8080. But like, yeah, it's just, it was in everything. It was in everything. Goddamn. What a weird piece of hardware. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for the show this week. We've talked about a home computer that literally no one had, so that's cool. We did it. And a Pac-Man game that was also an arcade game that had a love interest. That was a ghost. But a child of a ghost who was a child of... So ghosts can get pregnant in the Pac-Man universe.
And they're kinky.
Well, we knew that.
So they're into some questionable ghost type shit.
Maybe they lay eggs? Is that... Do ghosts lay eggs? Chat.
It's a question.
Chat.
It's a question that everybody's asked at one point in their lives, James.
Listeners, do ghosts in the Pac-Man universe, is it possible the power pellets are ghost eggs, and that is why they are trying to kill Pac-Man? It makes you think. And on that note, it's time to wrap. On that ponderous pondering, it is time to wrap up the show. And yeah, I know what I just said. Greg, what is our music to get us away from the thought of Pac ghosts reproducing?
Well, it's not unrelated to ghosts.
Shit.
Closing music, because, well, of course, just a few days after this goes out, it's going to be Halloween. You have something in that general area. So yeah, I thought we'd do something from the Luigi's Mansion series, because I don't think we've used that much over the years, actually. I think we used the end credits from the first one, which is good fun. That's Totaka, the original Luigi's Mansion. Very much a Totaka soundtrack, right? Just like have a melody and reuse it, rework it, and however many ways from Sunday you need to kind of get through the game. That's what they did with the original Luigi's Mansion, but it worked. It's very memorable. You don't forget that tune basically, and then it would come back in the sequels as like the sort of ringtone for your little like device, whatever it is, like the Game Boy. The dual scream, maybe? I forget exactly what they call it in each installment, like the kind of successors to the Game Boy Horror that was in the first one. I thought about maybe something from 3, because that came out at Halloween, basically, I think, 5 years ago. But, of course, we also had, just this year, Luigi's Mansion 2 coming back, as we, I guess, must refer to it now, canonically. It was, what is it? Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, as it was, or 2 as it was in some territories. Well, now it's 2. That's how they're going with it now, so I guess that's what we must call it. But, in Luigi's Mansion 2, there's a part where, within the actual game itself, there's a kind of a piano that is played by a ghost. And so this library piano is just the song that it plays, basically. In the rich heritage of Mario or related to that franchise games having scary pianos, because of course Mario 64 has the piano that tries to eat you, which I would be surprised if that was not also a reference to the Japanese film House. I spoke about Animal Well having a very direct reference to artwork from the Japanese film House. I guess it's less of a slam dunk with that very sort of toothy piano in Mario 64, but still, I'd be surprised. This doesn't have teeth or anything, just has a kind of amusing, slightly spooky, but, mostly just kind of enjoyable tune on it that walks up to the Inspector Gadget theme, if you remember that.
How many notes in does it get?
It's adjacent, but not really in risk of plagiarism. There's a similar thing in the third one, I think, where there's something that's kind of a waltz, and it's like, this is pretty close to The Godfather, but you've just about stayed far enough away. So they know what they're doing with this kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it is good fun.
Beautiful. All right. Well, on that, it is time for us to go. Enjoy your spookiness. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.